Imagine waking up in a parallel world where the gender ratio is one man to every 5 women. Sounds like every guy's dream, right? Wrong. In this world, women aren't just assertive, they are hunters. Meet Masato. He thinks he's just living a lucky university life with helpful female friends. But he has no idea that the nice older lady from work is actually recording his showers, and his cute classmate is mentally plotting to eliminate any girl who gets too close. He thinks he's popular. We know he's prey. Can our oblivious hero survive a world where a simple smile is enough to start a war? Let's find out. Almost everyone has probably wished at some point to be popular with the opposite sex. However, as a random woman forces herself onto the protagonist named Masato, asking him to hang out, he reflects that this is never something he wanted. When he humbly refuses, the girl insists that he at least give her his contact information. Realizing that she will not leave him alone until she gets it, Masato gives up and reaches for his phone. Just then, a girl appears behind him and clings to his arm, whom he addresses as Kumi. Kumi reminds him that class is about to start and drags him away from the strange woman. Thinking that escaping this way is a bit rude, Masato looks back and freezes in terror upon seeing the woman's furious expression as she clicks her tongue. Later at the university, Kumi reminds Masato that he can simply ignore people like that. He explains that ignoring others is harder for him than it sounds, to which Kumi tells him that he is just too nice. That is exactly why she finds him so worrisome, which he thinks is not something she should say about a university student, though in this world she is probably right. Masato is not originally from this world and was transported here a month ago. He had not noticed anything strange at first since it closely resembles his previous world, but he soon realized that this one has an extremely skewed gender ratio of 1 man to 5 women. He does not know the reason behind such a drastic imbalance, but because of it, women in this world are far more assertive. There has even been recent discussion about introducing polygamy. When he came to understand all of this, he was terrified at first. In his original world, he had friends he went to school with, laughing together over silly things, and it was not until he lost that ordinary life that he realized how precious it truly was. He had thought that his normal life was over, but fortunately, he met someone who stepped in as a guardian and made a friend who helps him whenever he is in trouble. Not everything turned out badly either, as thanks to the skewed gender ratio, a beautiful girl like Kumi now pays attention to him. In a way, he believes he is somewhat lucky, and by thinking like this, he is able to stay positive. Although the world has changed, he plans to live as normally as possible. As he grins to himself, Kumi beside him smiles warmly, realizing just how simple-minded he really is. 1 week ago, Kumi had been heading to university while yawning, realizing she had overdone it with gaming the night before. More than that, she is extremely annoyed by OPU players, and believes they should not enter the game just to get some attention. Putting that aside, as she headed toward her classroom, she overheard some people talking about her. When she turned toward the voices, she saw 2 men, one openly rating her looks at 85 points, while the other smugly claimed she barely made the cut. One of them even remarked that if Kumi asked, he might consider her. Kumi stormed off in anger, wondering why men were so arrogant. She believed they made no special effort and had nothing particularly exceptional about them, yet because of the gender ratio they acted entitled, speaking as though they were doing her a favor. As these unacceptable thoughts churned in her mind, she bumped into a boy and quickly apologized. The boy replied that it was fine, but then, for no reason at all, asked if she had fallen for him at first sight and suggested she could become his 3rd girlfriend. This was exactly the behavior she had been thinking about, and now she could barely contain her frustration. Later in the classroom, she is still deeply frustrated over the encounter from the morning. Her friend Mizuho notices and asks what's wrong, saying it looks like Kumi won't make it through to 5th period at this rate. Kumi agrees, and Mizuho tells her she won't be popular if she stays like this and that they should push through for the campus life they once dreamed of. After saying that, Mizuho cheerfully throws her hand into the air, declaring that they have to catch a handsome guy. Kumi still finds it hard to accept. Even though men are rare and considered valuable, she can't stand those scrutinizing gazes. Mizuho then asks who she is aiming for in their badminton club. Kumi replies that she doesn't have anyone in mind right now, to which Mizuho points out that Kato from the club is pretty handsome. Kumi agrees. It's not like she doesn't want a boyfriend. She is just tired of always being in the position of being chosen. She prefers a guy who is kind to women, treats them equally, and has a cleaner appearance. Still, she knows that such a luxury in this world is almost like something out of a fairy tale. Mizuho comments that although Kumi is very cute, she is surprisingly not very aggressive. She believes that if Kumi doesn't go after anyone, she will end up single, something Kumi herself also believes to be true. Later after classes, Kumi receives some very annoying news. Her next class is cancelled, and on top of that, she has no one around with free time. Just as she is getting annoyed by having nothing to do, she hears someone nearby sounding very confused about which classes to take. That person turns out to be Masato, sitting on a nearby bench with his laptop and looking very stressed. Kumi can tell that the boy seems to be in trouble, but when she looks around, she sees no one else near him. She recalls how men usually are and believes someone will surely help him out. Yet, for some reason, leaving him alone feels wrong. She also wonders why she feels there is something different about him compared to the others. She finds him handsome, though not at a celebrity level, so it doesn't seem to be his appearance. Rather, it feels like he is shining from within. She decides to approach him, convincing herself that she isn't expecting anything and is just a little curious, that's all. She goes up to him and asks if he is trying to register for courses, to which he replies affirmatively. He adds with a smile that for some reason his enrollment process got delayed, which catches Kumi off guard. She is so surprised that she wonders whether men even smiled this naturally. She offers to help him, but her nervousness makes her stutter, causing her to panic as she worries that Masato might find it weird. Instead, his eyes sparkle as he asks if she would really help him, which also catches her off guard. She quickly turns her head away to hide her surprise at his pure smile. In the meantime, Masato moves to make room for her on the seat and tells her his department. This surprises her even more, and she wonders whether he moved so she could sit next to him and whether he would freak out if she did. If he does, Kumi is sure she will actually end up crying at her age and be called crazy. Just then, Masato asks what's wrong and she instinctively sits down, saying it's nothing. Seeing his screen, Kumi tells him that they are in the same department and faculty. Hearing this, Masato is surprised and thinks it's a huge help to be assisted by a direct senior. Kumi quickly clarifies that she is a freshman too, which leaves Masato wearing a confused expression. Kumi starts panicking again, wondering if she was too bold as a freshman and whether Masato has mistaken her actions for having ulterior motives. However, it turns out that Masato is instead glad that she is a freshman, as he doesn't have any friends in his year, so her help means a lot to him. Once again, with a warm smile, he introduces himself as Katasato Masato and asks for her name. This surprises her greatly, as he is kind and friendly, completely different from the other boys. She tries to calm herself and put on a smile so she does not embarrass herself further. With that, she introduces herself as Igarashi Kumi, smiling brightly at him. She then turns her face away again, wondering if she had greeted him properly. Masato explains that he does not know which classes to take, and upon a closer look, Kumi notices that his schedule is completely blank. Seeing this, she wonders if this is an opportunity. Since they are in the same department, it should be fine for him to take the same classes as her. She snaps out of her thoughts when Masato calls her name and nervously voices her suggestion that they could share the same schedule. She explains that some classes are already in their second semester, and since she is already attending them, she can explain things and share handouts which would benefit him. However, because she speaks too quickly while nervous, she worries that Masato might find her creepy. Instead, Masato softly calls her name and asks if she is a genius. He agrees that it would really help but asks if she is sure since there is no benefit for her. She assures him that there are plenty of benefits for her, so it is fine. Kumi feels confused, wondering if this is just a dream. Why is Masato not suspecting anything, and why is he not laughing at her? After helping him choose his classes, Masato thanks her, though she does not believe she did much. He then adds that he is heading home, as it is pointless to attend class when his student ID has not arrived. Kumi agrees and says they will see each other once he starts attending. She feels very happy, as this is the first time she has had fun talking to a guy and knows she will see him every day. She notices Masato looking around, so she asks him what is wrong. He hesitates before saying that he has a favor to ask. When she asks what it is, he asks if she could be his friend if it is all right with her. This strikes her heart deeply. All her life she had been the one chosen, but for the first time she has the option to choose. Snapping out of her daze, she replies that of course they can be friends. This makes Masato very happy, and he explains that he does not have a single friend. He tells her that thanks to her, he is starting to look forward to university and then leaves after saying goodbye. After he leaves, Kumi sits on the ground and clutches her chest, murmuring that she cannot take it anymore. Her heart is racing and she keeps repeating Masato's name. To her, he is like a prince, exactly the man she had always wished for, and now she wants all of him. But for that, she knows she needs to keep an eye on him, or other girls will immediately flock to him while he remains far too oblivious. Back in the present, as they walk together, Masato suddenly stops, prompting Kumi to ask what is wrong. He replies that it is nothing and tells her to hold out her hand for a moment, which she does without asking any questions. Masato then places 2 candies in her hand as thanks for earlier, apologizing that they are only snacks. With a smile, he thanks her for helping him again. This makes her heart race once more, and she accidentally says aloud that it is unfair. Before he can ask what she means, she quickly clarifies that it is nothing. What she finds unfair is that Masato does the things she has always wished someone special would do for her, and then, at moments like this, surprises her with small acts of kindness that makes her happy. She believes that his kindness has saved her, even though things are still difficult for her now. Still, she is certain that one day she will become this person's girlfriend. A few days later, outside Masato's apartment, someone reminds him that it is almost noon, to which he replies that he is aware. It has already been a month since he came to this parallel world. In this world, a person named Katasato Masato had existed before him, someone who had just graduated from high school and was preparing for university. At first, Masato felt uneasy after arriving here, but now he lives a normal life, all thanks to a person named Tsukuda Eika. After greeting him good morning, she reminds him that he has a shift today and tells him to come to the shop at 6 p.m. She is the one who helped him right after he came to this world, and since then she has become something like a guardian to him, someone he considers a goddess. Though she is married, it seems that she and her husband are no longer together. Eika then mentions that she noticed him showering right before going to work and tells him that he doesn't have to go that far. Masato explains that he showers late because he exercises and gets sweaty. She then asks how university is going and whether he has made any friends, and he replies that he has. She finds this suspicious and warns him not to let any weird girl trick him, telling him to inform her if he is ever staying out late, and also tells him to drop the honorifics with her already. Masato agrees to all of it and quickly leaves, while she is annoyed that he still hasn't dropped it. Later, he arrives at class and is called by Kumi, who has saved a seat for him. He thanks her and sits down, feeling grateful that she is his friend. Suddenly, she pinches his arm to get his attention and suggests they have a meal together as thanks for saving him a seat. Masato is very surprised by her cuteness and wonders what kind of creature she is, even questioning whether she likes him. He quickly snaps out of it, dismissing the thought as a delusion, and tells her that he cannot tonight because he has a shift. She asks if his shift is always on Friday, and he replies that it is something like that. She then asks about Monday, and he agrees, which makes her very happy as she lets out a small yay. Once again, Masato is surprised by her overwhelming cuteness and wonders if she is doing this on purpose, but he tells himself to get a grip and lets it slide because she is cute. Masato then reflects that in his original world he probably would not have even gotten close to her, as she seems like a very popular girl. Though he does not know much about her friends, he is certain they would want to be in the same class as her. Because of that, he feels a bit bad about keeping her all to himself and asks if this arrangement is really okay with her. When she looks confused, Masato asks whether she would not rather take classes with her friends instead of him. She replies that this is not the case, explaining that she can see her friends at club activities or elsewhere. He then tells her she should take classes with her friends as well, saying that he has already caught up with class and is fine on his own. Upon hearing this, Kumi asks him why, wearing a fake smile with hollow eyes. This shocks Masato, and he wonders if he has said something wrong because even though she is smiling, it feels strangely frightening. A few moments earlier, before Masato arrived, Kumi had entered the classroom and did not find him there. Because of that, she decided to save a seat for him and was in the middle of sending him a message about it, wondering whether he would find it cringe if she added a heart. But she shakes her head, believing he would not mind. It has been a month since she met Masato, and she realizes he is too nice, which makes her worry about what might happen if some terrible woman were to play tricks on him. Thus, she becomes determined to protect him, and to do that, she plans to stay by his side as much as she can during university. In this way, she believes that one day he will fall for her, and just imagining it makes her want to protect him even outside the university. Just then, she receives a message from Masato, sending her a thank you emoji, which she finds cute. But the thing is, they have been spending so much time together that she wonders if this is not the time for progress between them. Just then, Masato arrives, and she is absolutely sure she wants him as her boyfriend. This is precisely why she cannot confess unless she is certain he will not reject her, so she has to move step by step carefully. As the next step is a date, she becomes very flustered imagining seeing him outside this university world and getting to know him better. Thus, she asks him to treat her to a meal, and though she knows it is bold, she has to do it to make him notice her. Then he talks about his shift, and she suggests Monday, which he accepts, making her happy. Overjoyed, she wonders where they will go and if she should ask Masato directly. At that time, Masato asks her if she is really okay with not spending time with her other friends. Her thoughts darken as she replies that is not true, wondering what he means by that. As the conversation continues, Kumi's inner thoughts say that she wants to be with Masato, and even the time they spend together never feels like enough, so him asking that makes her wonder if he does not want to be with her. When she asks why, Masato looks shocked, and simply replies that he thought maybe she wants to take classes with other girls too. She then asks him if he does not like taking classes with her, a question she does not want to say out loud, yet it feels as if she is in a trance. She further asks whether he would rather take classes with some other girl. She believes that someone like her, who is not cute, would just end up being disliked, which she desperately wants to avoid. In her inner thoughts, she begs Masato not to go somewhere she cannot reach and not to push her away. She snaps out of it as Masato repeatedly refuses, saying it is nothing like that. He tells her that he is grateful a beautiful girl like her lets him take classes with her, and that there is nothing better than that, adding that he has no other friends apart from her. Kumi is completely taken aback that he calls her beautiful, so she asks him if he really finds her cute. He confirms it and says he believes it would be good if she had more confidence. Kumi's face turns bright red as she becomes flustered at being called cute. Hearing this from the person she likes makes her extremely happy, and she clutches her face and starts giggling. Later, after classes finish, they part ways, but something still lingers on Kumi's mind. It is the things she unconsciously said to Masato, words she never meant to say, especially when Masato had not even mentioned wanting to take classes with another girl. As she remains lost in thought, her friend Mizuho suddenly appears and clings onto her arm, startling her. Mizuho playfully asks what that love-struck look on her face is about, which Kumi quickly denies, though she blushes, thinking maybe she really did have that expression. Seeing this, Mizuho teases her, saying she is making a maiden's face. With that, she asks Kumi when she is going to introduce him to her, clarifying that she means the boy Kumi is always within class. She also reminds her that they promised they would share information about guys. She points out that right after Kumi said they could not be in the same class together, there was already a guy sitting next to her. Since she herself has a weakness for attractive men, she is glad that Kumi has found someone. Just then, Kumi bows deeply and apologizes strongly, saying that she cannot introduce the guy to Mizuho. Shocked, Mizuho asks why, but Kumi apologizes again and says she is serious. She is determined not to give him to anyone, so she cannot afford to introduce him to another girl. As she continues insisting, Mizuho accepts it, saying she cannot believe Kumi would say something like that while bowing to her best friend. Since that is the case, she tells Kumi to inform her about other guys instead. Kumi agrees, saying she will do her best, and apologizes once more before thanking her. Mizuho then hugs her and teases her, saying she will get a boyfriend first, to which Kumi tells her not to touch her in weird places. Mizuho tells her to give it her all, which makes Kumi even more determined. Ever since falling in love with Masato, every day has been fun and everything around her seems to sparkle. But when other girls get close to him, a dark feeling wells up inside her, and she wonders if she is not enough. Still, because it is Masato, she believes she would do anything for him and give him everything. As she thinks about it, she realizes she is someone who gets jealous very easily. Meanwhile, Masato is playing basketball and wonders what Kumi was talking about earlier, deciding that it is probably fine since she looked happy. Just as he is about to shoot the ball into the hoop, a girl calls out to him from behind. The two seem to know each other as they start talking, while Kumi, back at the university, thinks that she would not like it if Masato were to hang out with another girl. A few moments earlier, since it is Friday, Masato came to the basketball court to play, and according to his routine, he plans to play until his part-time job starts. He likes this spot because it is not crowded on weekdays, but he cannot really enjoy playing in this world since it is full of women. And since Kumi told him not to join her club either, all he can do now is exercise alone. Just as he recalls that he is not truly alone anymore, the short-haired girl calls out to him. She declares that she will definitely win today and then make him give this spot to her. With a smug expression, he calls her a little girl and asks if she has come again. Annoyed, she tells him she is not a little girl. This girl is Mita Yuka, whom he met not long after coming to this world. He found this place because he wanted to play basketball, but he soon learned that Yuka had been practicing here long before he ever showed up. The first time they met, he gave her the spot, saying he was heading back so she was free to use it. The next time they ran into each other, he tried to give her the spot again, but instead she requested a match. Ever since that day, he believes they have grown much closer. And before he knew it, their matches turned into a condition over who would claim ownership of the spot. Right now, he believes he only has the advantage because of their height difference. From what he has seen, Yuka is seriously talented, so he believes he will lose once she grows up. Just then, she says she has a secret strategy today and tries to run past him, which he immediately recognizes. Since he has seen this move before, he tries to block her, but that is exactly what she anticipates. As he steps in, she pivots smoothly and slips past him from the opposite direction. Although he realizes her plan, it is already too late and Yuka is certain she has succeeded. Unfortunately, she trips, losing the ball and is about to fall face first, but Masato catches her just in time, stopping her fall and breaking the impact. This leaves them in a very awkward position, something Masato realizes instantly, as his life flashes before his eyes and he imagines himself getting arrested. Realizing that he has to make her move quickly, he calls out to her. However, she does not respond, which confuses him. As it turns out, she also realizes her position too late and becomes so flustered that she eventually passes out. This deeply surprises Masato, while Yuka, now unconscious, recalls the first time she was able to have a proper conversation with him. 1 month ago, Yuka was walking to school when one of her friends revealed that she was dating someone and had confessed during the graduation ceremony. That friend then asked Yuka whether she had confessed to anyone, to which Yuka replied that she did not have anyone she liked. To her, all the kids in her class were annoying. One day she was sweaty, and the outline of her innerwear was visible, prompting 2 boys to comment on her bra. Hearing this, she quickly tried to hide it, while another boy remarked that she was unnecessarily tall. The boy with him mentioned that he had heard basketball made people taller, but the other argued that no one liked tall girls and that only maniacs did. To lighten the mood, one of Yuka's friends teasingly asked the boy whether she was the right size, which embarrassed him, and he snapped that no one wanted someone like her. The girl then called the boy mean and said that Yuka really stood out, something her friends believed even though Yuka herself did not. Just because she was a bit taller than everyone else, she was teased, and others decided her worth without ever asking her, which she thought was wrong. Because of this, she could not find any of the boys attractive and instead found playing basketball far more enjoyable. That was why her friends called her a basketball fanatic. Unlike Yuka, they had joined the club to get closer to boys. Then one of them suddenly revealed that Yuka was secretly a pervert. Shocked, Yuka quickly tried to deny it, but her friend claimed that everyone knew she read dirty books in class in secret. As another friend was about to reveal that she had found something suspicious under Yuka's bed the other day, Yuka hurriedly shut her mouth. She believed that because she was a girl, she could not help having some interest in men. Later, after parting ways with her friends, she went to the basketball court and noticed someone there, which was rare at that time. As she considered taking turns using the court, since it was just the two of them, she realized the other person was a boy who is Masato. She found it unusual to see a boy practicing alone, but she was soon surprised by how fast he was. She had only ever seen those kinds of moves on TV, so this was her first time seeing someone play so well in person. Her attention was completely captured, and she stood glued to the wire fence as she watched Masato play. Just as she started thinking that he was incredibly cool, he noticed her standing there and their eyes met. Her heart pounded uncontrollably as she realized how handsome he was and wondered whether he smelled nice. Masato then told her that he was heading back and that she was free to use the court. This caught her off guard, and she wondered whether he was leaving because she had come, though she also found him kind for giving up the spot. Then she realized that if they parted ways here, she might never see him again. She told herself to be brave, but when he walked past her, she could not say anything because of how shy she was. Since she remained silent, Masato left, and she could only watch him go and sigh. Still, she was determined that there would be a next time, considering herself a girl who never gave up. That was why the following Friday, when she noticed Masato from her classroom, she quickly dashed to the court, leaving her friends behind. After running all the way from the classroom, she stopped in front of the court to catch her breath. She was relieved to see that he was there. After their first encounter, he had not been around, and she had been very worried. As she watched him play, she was mesmerized by his movements, finding him just as cool as ever. When she stepped onto the basketball court, Masato immediately recognized her. The fact that he remembered her made her happy, but she realized she had to say something now so she would never have to fear not seeing him again. Gathering her courage, she asked him to have a match with her, which caught Masato off guard. Seeing his reaction, Yuka panicked inwardly, wondering whether he thought she was a weirdo, but instead Masato agreed, saying that he was actually looking for someone to play against. With a smug expression, he warned her that he would not go easy on her. When he told her to go first, she found him kind and could hardly believe that she really got to play basketball with him. As they began playing, she could not beat him, but she found it more fun than anything she had ever experienced and wished the moment could last forever. Masato was impressed and told her that she was good, which she thanked him for even though she did not manage to beat him at all. She found Masato incredible at basketball. She had never lost to boys her age before, and that fact made it even better in her eyes, prompting her to grin. Masato then asked whether she was out of breath and reminded her to stay hydrated. When she checked her bag, she realized she had forgot to bring her water bottle. Masato offered his, but she nervously refused, saying she had some allowance and could buy one herself. He told her not to worry about it and insisted that she use his. As he held the bottle out to her, she noticed that it was already open, meaning he had already drunk from it. She became extremely flustered at the realization that drinking from it would be an indirect kiss. She tried to compose herself, but she could not stop panting, desperately wanting to drink it. Telling herself that it was a normal thing, she attempted to take a sip, but her mind filled with thoughts of Masato's lips. Before she could even drink, she lost consciousness. From that day on, she remembers seeing Masato as seductive, and though she never got the indirect kiss, she feels oddly happy to be able to sit on his chest. Just as that thought crosses her mind, she regains consciousness and Masato asks if she is okay. She replies that she is fine, but as she realizes she passed out again, she wonders whether Masato now thinks she is strange. He reassures her that it is completely fine, but since it is getting late, he suggests heading home for the day and she agrees. Yuka's mood sinks despite finally getting to spend time with him, feeling that she ruined everything. Masato then places a hand on her shoulder and tells her that it is fine, saying that he will come back next week so she can take the court again then. His smile and how close he is leave her deeply flustered. He lends her his towel, telling her to wipe her sweat properly and assuring her that it is freshly washed and that he has another one for himself. The thought of using Masato's towel makes her heart race. He encourages her to have more confidence, telling her that even though things did not go perfectly today, her strategy was great and she is getting better and better, which makes things better for him too. After saying that, he leaves, telling her that they will meet again next week. Once he is gone, Yuka reaches for the towel and realizes that Masato always says exactly what she wants to hear. Ever since they met, she has come to understand how wonderful it is to like someone, her heart now completely captivated by him. As she thinks this, she presses the towel to her mouth, wondering whether it is really okay for someone like her to feel this way about him. She then softly apologizes to Masato for being a bad girl. Later, Masato is working his part-time job, which happens to be at a bar. No matter how long he has been working there, he still can't get used to the atmosphere. Even worse, watching the senpai who has always been kind to him act all cutesy is genuinely painful for him. When Eika took him in, the condition she set was that he work at her bar Festa. Everyone treats him kindly and the job isn't difficult, but the flirtatious atmosphere is something he simply can't adjust to. Fortunately, since he isn't old enough to drink, he can't sit with customers. However, one of the women suddenly asks him to drink with her. He politely refuses, explaining that he can't drink, which the woman clearly dislikes, until one of his seniors steps in and distracts her using his natural charm. Masato walks away with a sigh of relief, but because he can't drink, he can't accept most customer requests and can only listen to them. Just then, one of his coworkers approaches and informs him there's a request from table 3. He adds that it's the usual customer, teases that Masato has a regular now, and tells him to take good care of her. Realizing who that usual customer must be, Masato quickly heads over to table 3 and greets the woman named Sarah. When he comments that she has come again, Sarah nervously replies that she just happened to have free time, which he is almost certain she also said last week. This woman, Mochizuki Sarah, is slightly older, and Masato finds it odd that she would repeatedly request someone as plain and boring as him. Sarah remarks that it must have been tough dealing with that earlier customer, and from that Masato realizes she witnessed the scene. He blames himself, thinking customers come here to drink and enjoy themselves, yet he is someone who can't do either. Sarah agrees, saying it's ironic he works in a place like this when he can't even drink. When he responds with a gloomy tone, she tries to cheer him up by saying she doesn't care. She isn't there specifically to drink with someone. So she declares she is the perfect match for him and he should feel grateful. Hearing that, Masato chuckles and agrees they are a perfect match, thanking her for the encouraging words. He believes that although Sarah is hard to read at times, she is a kind person. Just then, her friend arrives and teasingly claims Sarah is head over heels for Masato. Sarah becomes flustered but quickly excuses herself by insisting she only came because her senpai invited her. She insists that she chose Masato simply because talking to him is the least bad option, to which he replies he is happy regardless. He adds that listening is all he can really do here, so he likes hearing her stories. When she asks if he says things like that to everyone, he firmly denies it. He then offers her a glass and remarks that she is the only customer odd enough to request him. She is surprised, then delighted, learning she truly is the only one who chooses him. Masato feels relieved that she is having fun. In the past, she hadn't looked well at all and he had been worried. While Masato shows her a picture of his cat, Sarah quietly thinks to herself that he is adorable, and because of him she can keep going. A month earlier, Sarah had gotten into an argument with a senior coworker at her office. The senior smugly and loudly declared that it was no wonder even men ran away from her. Hearing that, everyone in the office began whispering, speculating that she had been dumped. One coworker even revealed that the man in question never believed they were dating to begin with. Her first boyfriend back in university had dumped her as well, asking if she was actually serious and then admitting he already had 2 other girlfriends. She was shattered. Before she could feel anger or hatred, she cursed her own stupidity. She asked herself why she had been happy with someone like that. Was it because everyone around her had boyfriends and she was jealous? She wondered if she had believed any guy would do, berating herself as an idiot again and again. Ever since then, she has lived alone to the point where she no longer even feels jealous. She simply wakes up, works, sleeps, and repeats. Then one day, one of her coworkers suggests they go to a boys' bar, a place she always visits, and tells her that there are handsome guys there, so it might be good for her mental health. Sarah honestly just wants to go home and sleep, but since this coworker Maki has been helping her so much lately, she can't refuse. Maki adds that Sarah hasn't been looking well recently, so she thought inviting her might help her feel better. Hearing this, Sarah is surprised and agrees, which makes Maki so happy that she hugs her, saying she's sure Sarah will enjoy it. Sarah hopes so too. Though she has never been to a place like this and considers herself a boring woman, she still can't turn down Maki's thoughtful gesture. She decides she'll make some casual small talk and then hurry home. Upon entering the bar, Maki is greeted by a guy she clearly knows, and she replies in a soft, affectionate voice saying she's come again. This shocks Sarah, who questions whether Maki really sounds like that. While she is still processing it, the guy named Yusuke asks who she wants to request tonight, and Maki instantly answers that of course it's him because she is devoted to him. Seeing this unexpectedly girly side of her senpai is deeply shocking to Sarah, and she wishes she had never witnessed it. Just then, more handsome boys greet them, and Sarah blushes at the sight. As she sits down and drinks, she finds the boys genuinely attractive and thinks that maybe this really will lift her mood. However, she's also certain that men like this are probably laughing at them on the inside, thinking they're just pathetic women who have to pay to even talk to men. But even so, the boys still smile and speak politely to them without the slightest hint of annoyance, so they haven't done anything wrong. She realizes that lately she has become hopelessly negative. For now, she just wants to go home, and although she hopes the host assigned to her arrives soon, she doubts she'll enjoy it. She plans to leave after a bit of polite conversation anyway, since she has housework to catch up on tomorrow. As she wonders whether sleeping until noon might be nice, a voice calls out to her, addressing her as Milady. The voice belongs to Masato, who greets her warmly and professionally. Seeing him, she instantly wonders if he might be an angel while Masato asks her name. Taken off guard, she quickly turns her face away and answers that it's Sarah. She is surprised to see someone like him. He looks innocent and has such a baby face that she feels a strange urge to protect him. Masato asks whether she came after work, and she replies that she has the day off tomorrow. Masato immediately says that's wonderful, explaining that having a day off to look forward to makes Friday nights exciting. She chuckles and agrees, surprising herself that she just smiled. She assumes it's because Masato is completely different from what she expected. When he asks what she plans to do on her day off, she casually mentions that she has recently gotten into gaming. She instantly regrets saying it, worried it sounds too nerdy and that Masato will think she's some kind of otaku. Instead, he looks intrigued and asks what types of games she likes to play. Surprised, she answers RPGs. Masato says he loves RPGs too and wants to hear her recommendations. Hearing that, her mind spirals. She wonders if he's making fun of her and if talking to a boring woman like her is just part of his job. However, reminding herself that this place is meant for her enjoyment, she decides to stop overthinking and downs her entire drink. She then pours out all her frustration about her boss and how she was humiliated in front of everyone, which Masato agrees sounds horrible. Only afterward does she realize she's venting and wonders why she's even talking about this, along with how many drinks she has already had. But even then, she continues, saying the real idiot is her for actually believing her ex-boyfriend wanted a relationship and letting herself get carried away. Masato asks if he was the one who asked her out. She confirms but adds that she should have realized how foolish she was. Masato voices his opinion, saying it's terrible and that she didn't do anything wrong, to which she answers that this is simply how it is for women, adding that they really don't have a choice. Masato calls that unforgivable. He says that just because there are fewer men than women, it doesn't make men superior, and he expresses how much he hates guys who get cocky because of that. Sarah is taken aback, wondering why he is getting angry on her behalf when he could just sit back and wait. Women would flock to him and shower him with attention, but he behaves completely differently from the men she knows. Masato then says that if it were up to him, he would want to date someone like Sarah. The words catch her off guard, her eyes widening in surprise. But more than that, she feels something snap inside her. From that day on, she can't get Masato out of her head, and ever since then, her world has become much brighter. She starts bettering herself to be someone worthy of Masato, and from that point on, work no longer feels like a burden. Every bit of effort she puts in becomes something she is eager to spend on him. She even has a photo of him saved on her phone that she looks at every night, and she can't imagine her life without him anymore. Back to her first time visiting the bar, Maki tells Sarah they are heading out and asks how long she plans to keep flirting. Sarah quickly denies flirting and calls Masato lanky, but her voice trembles, and she can't continue, because she thinks Masato looks cool from every angle, absolutely flawless. So she begs someone to give her credit for at least managing to call him lanky in a desperate attempt to find anything wrong with him. She never meant to make fun of him and is now simply embarrassed, apologizes in her thoughts, calling herself a pathetic adult. Masato tells that he is aware he is lanky, and while holding her hand to steady her, he tells her to come again. With this, she instantly realizes that she likes him. But the problem is, as long as he works here, he will entertain whoever requests him, something she hates even imagining. She doesn't want any other woman sitting beside him. Thus, with a soft voice, she tells him he can't take anyone else's request. Masato accepts, informing her that he only works on Fridays so she can request him every Friday. She finds it unfair because if he says something like that, she'll have to come every week, which she doesn't exactly mind, as even Fridays don't feel like enough time because she wants to be with him more. Suddenly, Maki hugs her from behind, asking what they were flirting about and if Sarah was taking advantage of her while Maki was paying. Before Sarah can respond, Maki, with a cute expression and playful voice, tells her she can't do that, which annoys Sarah, who tells her to erase that from her memory. Maki then says she got to see something entertaining and suggests checking out another spot, while Sarah is annoyed as now she can't even tease Maki about what happened earlier. Setting that aside, her life has begun to feel exciting again, something she believes is thanks to both Masato and Maki. After spending a little more time together, they say their goodbyes and agree to meet again on Monday. Later, having stayed out past midnight, Sarah checks the schedule for the last train. Then out of the corner of her eye, she notices Masato in normal clothes walking home. Although she knows she shouldn't and that it technically counts as a crime, she starts following him. He senses something, quickly turns around but doesn't spot Sarah as she hides behind a pole. Believing it was just his imagination, he continues walking while Sarah exhales in relief. She knew she is a filthy woman, but not to this extent, and the thought alone makes her sick with herself. Yet she still follows him all the way to his apartment complex, stands in front of his door and learns his full name. She writes the address down, trying to convince herself she will never use it for anything. But then she questions why she is writing it down at all and wonders what is wrong with her. She hears the shower running through the bathroom window and begins giggling. Leaning against the wall, she savors the knowledge that he is just one thin barrier away, taking a shower. As she realizes how completely broken she is and how unstoppable this feeling has become, a recording interface appears on her phone screen. A few days later, Eika informs Masato that a package from the facility has arrived and he thanks her. When he opens it and starts unpacking, he notices several items identical to ones he had owned in his previous world. Mixed in, however, are unfamiliar things. In that other world, he had lived in a foster care facility, and apparently the Masato of this world did as well, which makes him wonder if the two of them somehow switched places. Eika assures him that regardless of what kind of past life he carries, she has already decided to look after him, but she tells him that if he ever chooses to return to the facility, he should simply let her know. After a brief pause, Masato replies that he doesn't want that, as he is grateful for everything she has done. He asks her to look forward to the future, promising that he will repay her once he graduates. She pats his head in response, telling him to enjoy his campus life for now and worry about the rest when the time comes. This makes Masato wonder if having parents feels like this, and he hopes the previous Masato of this world also met someone like Eika. Meanwhile, Kumi checks herself in the glass of a shop. She has finished her skincare routine and believes she currently looks like the cutest version of herself. Just then, Masato calls out to her, startling her, as today is their movie date. He apologizes for surprising her and tells her she looks cute in her outfit, which brightens her mood immediately. She suggests they shop for clothes since they still have time before the movie and asks if he minds. He says it's fine and jokingly asks if she can pick out something cool for him. She takes it seriously, determined to find clothes that make him look even cooler. Later, they end up buying far more than expected, mostly for him, and she apologizes for going overboard. She simply couldn't help herself, everything looked great on him. He reassures her that it's fine and that she helped him tremendously, since he won't need to buy more clothes anytime soon. As they sit in the movie theater, he notices that it is surprisingly empty and wonders if it's because today is a weekday. He then mentions that this is his first time watching a movie in a theater, while Kumi can only think about the fact that they are practically alone together. In her thoughts, she asks Masato if he understands why she chose a romance movie. It is because she hopes he will start noticing her, even just a little. She wonders how he would react if she tried to hold his hand right now. Caught up in the moment, she attempts to reach for him, but fear stops her. She imagines him pulling away with a disgusted expression. Even so, she wants to feel his warmth, if only for a second, so she lightly presses her pinky against his hand. She feels how warm he is and hears nothing but her pounding heartbeat. She wonders if he would forgive her if he realized what she was doing. After the movie, Masato says it was really good, and Kumi nervously agrees. She barely watched any of it. She realizes he did not notice her attempt at all. Masato comments that it's refreshing to watch genres he normally avoids and asks her to tell him if there's another good one sometime. This makes her happy, and she replies that they will of course watch all kinds of movies together, and she hopes that one day she can walk hand in hand with him. The next day at the university cafeteria, her face is completely lit up. Yesterday's movie date had been blissful for her. Just then, Mizuho calls out to her, and she thanks her for saving a seat, to which she replies that it's fine. Kumi then notices her meal and asks if katsudon isn't a bit heavy, and Mizuho answers that today is a very important day, so she's going in ready to win. When Kumi asks what she means, Mizuho boldly replies that she plans to win in love, surprising her. Kumi then asks if she's planning to confess today, and Mizuho confirms it, saying that this time she actually has a good chance. When Kumi asks if it's Kato from her club, Mizuho nods, explaining that their eyes have met a lot, so she's sure of it. When Kumi asks if she's confessing just based on that, Mizuho tells her not to mock her just because she's finally on a roll. Kumi gives her an awkward grin and says she isn't really on a roll, but Mizuho sees right through her. Mizuho then suggests they go on a double date once she succeeds, which Kumi immediately recognizes as a death flag. She decides to head out at once, and when Kumi asks if she's serious, Mizuho simply replies that destiny doesn't wait. After she leaves, Kumi grows worried, wondering if Mizuho will be okay since she had been rejected so many times since high school. She knows Kato is friendly enough, but something always felt off about him, so she decides to check on things just in case. Later, she goes looking for the two of them but doesn't find them in their classroom, so she heads to the next one. That's when she hears Kato's voice. Following it, she peeks from behind the wall and hears him telling someone that he only talks to first years from time to time because Satsuki told him to. The person he's speaking to is Mizuho, and he asks if she mistook his goodwill for something else. Mizuho apologizes, but he cuts her down harshly, telling her never to waste his time again or speak of this to anyone, then asks if she knows her place. This enrages Kumi, who internally demands how someone so disgusting and lowly dares to hurt Mizuho like that. As she fumes, she regrets not recording the conversation to expose his real nature, but Mizuho suddenly catches her and says that eavesdropping isn't good. Despite what she has just been through, Mizuho tries to appear cheerful, saying she thought she had it this time and even attempts to poke fun at the situation. With a smile, she tells Kumi that things simply don't go smoothly sometimes. When she tells Kumi to hold on to that double date for now, Kumi assures her that she will find someone far better than that piece of trash. Mizuho then reminds her that third period is about to start and urges her to get going. As Kumi tries to say something more, Mizuho says she's going to cool off outside and that Kumi shouldn't keep her boy waiting. Kumi can tell she's faking it. Mizuho is always so positive and so quick to observe her surroundings, but all Kumi wants is for her to be genuinely happy. After they part ways, Kumi arrives at the next class where she finds that Masato has saved a seat for her. She thanks him and he replies that it's fine, she's usually the one saving seats anyway, so he's just returning the favor. Seeing this simple kindness, Kumi finds Masato to be like an angel, as if all the world's goodness has been condensed into him and God forgot to give him any flaws. Compared to him, she considers Kato nothing more than a piece of garbage. She's still furious about what he said to Mizuho and internally wonders how someone like him could ever think he has the right to hurt her. Noticing her anger, Masato asks if something happened as she looks a bit down and she responds by explaining everything. Masato is disturbed by it as well, while Kumi knows Mizuho is far too kind to ever expose him. Although she wants to speak up, everyone is deceived by his facade, so it is obvious who they would believe. This makes Kumi feel helpless and Masato agrees that they cannot forgive him. But he believes that at this point the only thing they can do is end up happier than he is and tell him that Mizuho has found someone far better than a nobody like him. Hearing this, Kumi calms her anger and agrees because she wants Mizuho to be happy. When Masato asks if Mizuho is really important to her, Kumi replies without hesitation that she is her most important friend. From music, stories, and everything she has experienced, Mizuho has learned that love is beautiful. She wants to fall in love herself and understand what that sparkling feeling is like. Lately, she has been wondering what love truly means and what it means to like someone. People talk about love in so many different ways, yet she cannot see herself in any of them. She learned that everyone compromises, settles, and puts up with things to find someone who is good enough. So she thought she should do the same, because these days just having someone agree to date you feels like something to be grateful for. And if no one makes a move, then they may never get a chance, leaving them vulnerable to exactly what happened to her. She questions why she has to go through something like this. Strangely, she is not even angry because a part of her understands she never truly wanted to date that guy. She only wanted a boyfriend, nothing more. She thinks it was her fault and tries to forget about it, shifting her thoughts to Kumi. She admits to herself how jealous she is of her and even considers dropping by just to stir things up between Kumi and her boyfriend. With that mindset, she decided to find a new guy, but then Kato's words echo in her mind. As her cheerful voice fails to come out, she wonders why, and she leans against a wall and sinks down. Unable to hold it in any longer, she lets everything out and starts crying. Later, as she walks back home, her complexion looks terrible, as it seems like she has got motion sickness from riding the train, which she finds ridiculous. She wonders whether she has always been this weak and finds herself pathetic. Untying her hair, she wonders if the nearby shop sells motion sickness medicine. Even though she is a mess, she believes it is fine because no one is paying attention to her. She then asks herself what she is doing, hurting this much just because she was rejected. As she tries to cheer herself up, she recalls that scene again and tears begin streaming down her eyes. It frustrates her because she already cried so much earlier. As she wipes her eyes, she bumps into someone. She loses her balance and falls while the person curses at her. Although she is hurt, she notices that her vision has gotten blurry, which means her contacts have fallen out. Since she can barely see without them, she scrambles to search for them and apologizes to everyone passing by. People walk past without helping. Some laugh and look down on her while she continues apologizing. She finds herself crawling on the ground, looking miserable, an exact reflection of her current state, which makes her want to disappear. As tears starts welling again and she thinks this is the worst day of her life, someone behind her asks if she is okay. That person is Masato in his work uniform and with a different hairstyle. After hearing that she lost her contact lens, he also crouches down to help her search. She thanks him and tries to figure out who he is, but she cannot see clearly. To her, it feels as though a hero has appeared to rescue her, so she quickly covers her face, not wanting him to see her in such an ugly state. She is shocked that anyone would help such a pathetic girl, and she becomes so flustered that she cannot hear anything but her heartbeat. And she finds it strange. Just moments ago, the world felt unbearable, but now it feels as though in the entire world there are only the two of them. As they search for the contact lens, someone silently watches the scene from afar. Moments later, Masato finally finds the lens and presents it to her in his handkerchief, telling her to be careful. She thanks him and finds him very polite and gentle, and for some reason it feels to her as though he has given her a piece of jewelry. Masato asks if there is another lens and starts searching again, but she bluntly replies that there is not, explaining that only one fell out, which confuses him. She then realizes that if it had been just one side, she could have handled it herself, but she panicked too much and ended up causing trouble. With a smile, Masato asks if everything is okay and says that if it is, that is great. He then asks whether she will be all right and offers to take her somewhere with a mirror, but she replies that it is fine, saying she cannot trouble him any further than this and finds him kind despite her own foolishness. She then notices her heart pounding wildly and wonders why. Masato tells her not to worry about returning the handkerchief and says goodbye, while she tries to stop him but cannot get her voice out. As he walks away, she finds him dazzling, unlike herself, who looks like a mess right now. She curls up on the spot, repeatedly calling herself stupid for not even asking his name. Her heart continues to ring loudly as she remembers Masato looking as though he were sparkling and wonders if this feeling is what she thinks it is. Her face turns bright red as she brings the handkerchief closer to her face, and she then notices a pen lying on the ground, which likely belongs to Masato. Moments later, Masato arrives at the Festa bar and apologizes for being late. His coworkers greet him and ask why he is there since he usually works on weekdays, and he replies that he heard they were short-staffed and came to help out. They then comment on his hair, which was done by his coworker Yusuke, who suddenly hugs him from behind. Yusuke is his senior and had helped him a great deal when he first started working there. Another coworker notices marks on Yusuke's hand and asks if he got hurt, to which Yusuke explains that they are from his girlfriend. Although Yusuke is flashy, Masato believes his mindset is the closest to how things were in his previous world, and he respects that Yusuke is not arrogant toward women. When Masato reminds him that he is busy, Yusuke immediately returns to work and tells everyone else to do the same. Later, as Masato is cleaning, he wonders if the girl from earlier is okay since he had to leave her in a hurry. He also wonders if she was crying because she lost her contact lens and nothing serious had happened. After finishing the cleaning, he is about to fill out the checklist when he notices that his pen is missing. As he wonders where it could have gone, Yusuke calls out to him and tells him to change, saying he has a request from a regular. Realizing that it is Sarah, Masato finds it rare for her to come in on a day other than her workday and wonders if she would have asked for someone else if he had not been there. With no time to fix his hair, he wonders what Sarah will say and whether she will be harsh. He goes straight to her table and calls out to her, but something feels different. When she looks back, she seems a bit gloomy today. Masato wonders if something bad happened at her workplace and decides to cheer her up. He expresses surprise that she came in today, recalling that she once said she only comes on Fridays. Ignoring that comment, she mentions seeing him outside the shop, and he explains that he was running an errand. As she stares at him, he assumes she is looking at his hair and explains that his coworker styled it, adding that he knows it does not look good. When she remains silent, Masato tells her that although he does not know what happened, she can say whatever is on her mind here, and he reminds her that, as always, he really likes listening to her talk. Hearing this, she breaks down and repeatedly apologizes as she has saw the whole thing. It turns out she was the person who was watching Masato and Mizuho from afar. To her, the scene looks like something out of a novel, as if a prince and princess are meeting for the first time. This makes her wonder who she is in this story, whether she is merely a background character who hopelessly admires the prince, a character readers only want out of the way. She is in denial of this realization, refusing to accept it. She believes it should have been her with Masato, not that girl. More importantly, that girl's face and hair are a mess, and her clothes are dirty, so she convinces herself that she still has a chance. As she becomes aware of her own thoughts, she feels disgusted with herself and starts to see herself as nothing more than a background character, jealous of the heroine and standing exactly where she belongs. Internally, she apologizes to Masato for stalking him. She knows it is a crime and had thought about deleting the data, but she just cannot let it go. She wants to ask him who that girl was and what he was doing with her, yet she knows she cannot. As she clutches her head, lost in these thoughts, Masato tells her that he is sure she is not in the wrong because she is a genuinely good person. Hearing this, she bursts into tears, continuing to apologize both aloud and internally for stalking him, for seeing what happened, and for feeling such jealousy. She also apologizes in her mind for not replying to him earlier, thinking that if he were to end up hating her, she would not be able to bear it. She then leans in and hugs Masato, catching him off guard and leaving him flustered. Still wanting to help her, he accepts the hug, and as he gently pats her back, he tells her that it is okay because he knows she is a kind person. She believes herself to be the worst for not realizing this sooner, concluding that it is all Masato's fault. Since he is the one who made her fall for him, he is also the one who made her lose control. Now all that remains is her desire to claim him and completely ruin him. Thus, she apologizes in advance, knowing she is never letting him go. Meanwhile, at Mizuho's house, she believes the pen belongs to the guy who helped her and finds it oddly familiar. When she notices the branding on it, she realizes it is from her university and wonders if they attend the same one. Realizing this might be the case, she giggles as she buries her face in her bed. Her heart pounds as everything seems to sparkle, a feeling entirely new to her, and she wants to see him again. With this thought, she believes that the threads of her destiny have finally begun to move.